Recently, I bought a 2004 Honda TRX450R for 500 bucks. This thing is an absolute basket case, and it's been left in pieces. We gave it a good clean job, and it was starting to look promising that maybe this quad didn't have that many hours on it, and we might have got lucky. But unfortunately, we tore down the engine, and we found some serious carnage.
Oh my gosh, does that stink?
It looks like this engine was run with no oil in it, and the bottom end was completely roached. That's no problem though, we're here to restore this thing, and I was expecting to find problems anyways. We also tore down the roller to the bare frame. We also strengthened up the frame by welding in a gusset kit and repaired some of the stuff that we found wrong with it before sending everything out for powder coat and ordering a buttload of parts. Well, now those parts are here, so it's time to open up the heaping pile that has arrived. We're gonna take a look at the new parts, all of the fresh zinc coating on our original hardware, then we're gonna go over the graphics and scheme of this build, and then we'll take a closer look at some of the trick new parts that we got. And if you do enjoy these videos, please hit that thumbs up button. That helps me out tremendously. And leave a comment down below on what you think of the build. Even if you're just saying hi, that helps the video perform tremendously. All right, guys, we got some boxes to open. Alrighty, man, we have got parts for this 450R coming out the freaking wazoo. Just have a look at this. I've got everything laid out, nice and neat in rows, and I even have little walking lanes so that I can show you guys all this cool stuff. If you guys saw the pile of boxes before I opened this stuff up and spread it out, it was kind of ridiculous. All this stuff is brand new parts, man. Look at these freaking heel guards, dude. These are the powder, some of the powder coated stuff came back. All right, we'll go down the line. I'm getting excited here. And then over here, got all of our fresh zinc coated bolts and our vapor blasting, all done by Motoblast. We got a radiator back here. We got to straighten out all these little fins and stuff. But that thing that ought to basically look like brand new once we're done with it. It's just really tedious. I get such a kick out of these bolts, man. Zinc coating looks so good. So I wanted to do black for most of the bolts on this machine because, you know, the whole theme of this is the Dark Patriot. So it's supposed to be kind of like sinister and dark looking. Really, I like to do yellow zinc. This is yellow zinc here. It's kind of like a gold color. I'm sure you guys have seen this before on your bolts. I think it's like the most fresh looking. It's so shiny. So what I did was the majority of the frame bolts are in black, and then a lot of the stuff that goes on the engine I did in the yellow. And then over here are the vapor blasted parts. You can see I got like the little brake sliders and stuff vapor blasted. It makes them come out like brand new. You know, I could have got all this stuff new, but believe it or not, if you buy all these clips from Honda, it kind of adds up. Each one of these is a couple bucks, and that ends up being like $50 just for those clips. So James makes them look like, James at Motoblasting makes them look like brand new. We've got our caliper pistons, all vapor blasted and cleaned up. Our little parking brake block off. These are spacers for the motor mount. At least I think, you know, this was a basket case, so these were just like in boxes, but I'm pretty sure they're spacers for the motor mounts. We've got our front master cylinder. Have to rebuild that, and it will look brand spanking new. This is a caliper stay, our shifter, and the front spindles as well. I actually pressed out, I call these the pins, the spindle pins, because, you know, the tips of these get rusty and the back gets rusty. So these should be completely unique. I don't know that anybody has black zinc on their spindle pins. And then of course we've got our cases. If you can remember, these are the cases that had that oil all burnt on the inside. Oh my gosh, dude, it stinks. And one of the nice things about vapor blasting is so aluminum is porous, and which means that it can absorb things and it gets stains very easily. When you have something vapor blasted, I think it seals those pores, and it actually makes it really resistant to future stains and stuff like that. Here's the side cover right here, and again, the radiator. I'm not sure exactly what the vapor blasting does, but I can attest to that by personal experience. James has been doing my vapor blasting for, I don't know, it's been a couple of years now, and there are specific machines that I've left outside. If you guys remember the OG Banshee, I had those cases vapor blasted, and I purposely left that outside, not just like sitting under the rain and stuff. It was under a tarp, but when you leave a machine out like that and it's exposed to getting hot and cold and hot and cold and hot and cold, you get condensation, and you'll get like oxidation on aluminum cases and stuff like that. Anyways, for whatever reason, these resist that. It's just, so ever since then, I get all my cases vapor blasted, even if they're clean looking. It's just a good idea to do. Anyways, all of this was done by James at Motoblast. He does absolutely incredible work. You've got options. You've got the black zinc, you've got the yellow zinc, and then there's silver zinc, or blue zinc actually is what it's called, and that's where the silver bolts. Most bolts that you see have the blue zinc on there. He can do all of them. Takes your bolts. This is all the OEM hardware. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is something that I started doing a couple years ago. I used to get like the bolt bags that you get on eBay where it's all stainless steel hardware and stuff, and I thought that was like an upgrade and everything. But those bolts, again, speaking from experience, specifically the shock mount bolts, I've noticed, like where your linkage bolts up and your lower rear shock, those ones, they tend to bend. Those bolts are not, the quality of those bolts is not always great. I'm sure there's people that buy it and there's no problem, but I think they're, it's hardware that's made in China. There's probably inconsistencies and stuff. And a lot of times they're not the exact correct size. Like it'll work, but it's not perfect. There might be a little bit of play in the mounting holes and stuff. So I've kind of just gone like OEM completely, which is totally spoiled, but you just can't beat this. But the other thing that I can tell you is that the zinc coating on these bolts is better than what you're going to get from the factory. It's no different than painting or powder coating or anything in those cases. He does each one of these bolts individually, dips them in a tank, and monitors them. When factories and whatnot do zinc coating, they have a different process. And I don't know the process exactly, so take that for what it's worth, but I believe they do it in batches. And it's estimated with, with zinc, it's like how long you leave it in the tank is how much zinc gets coated on there. So they'll take a whole batch of parts and they do them all in one shot and they'll estimate it. Well, he does these ones each individually, so they're all properly zinc coated. And usually the zinc coating on James's stuff is it's going to be thicker than what you get from the factory, which means it lasts longer and it's more rust resistant. So you get what you pay for, and I really like to maintain and keep the stock stuff. So if you have your projects and you want to get anything zinc coated, it doesn't have to be ATV or dirt bike related. He does car stuff too, and he also does the vapor blasting. You can contact him at Motoblast. The website is njvaporblast.com. So I figure we'll just go down the line here, and I'm going to show you guys all the parts, at least that are here. I get a lot of comments, people saying like, yo, where's the 450R? What's going on? And people are like, well, what do you have? What's happening here? We were doing the 450R. I don't know what's going on, man. Like, supply chain is really slow for some reason. The Honda 450R, one of the things I was excited for with this project is it's kind of a mainstream quad still, like second only to the YFZ 450R and the Raptor 700 because they still produce those. The TRX450R has a huge aftermarket. Almost every single part that I have here, I had multiple options. The aftermarket companies are still producing stuff for this, and for that reason, I thought we were going to get the parts really quick. So I don't know what the hell's going on, but this is what I have here. It's most of the parts. We've got some really cool stuff that I'm waiting on. I just couldn't wait any longer. I figured we might as well open some of this stuff up and I'll show you. We're just going to get started here in no particular order. We're going to get going with the ASV levers. These are the F3s. They've got the little cover, the dust shield on them. These are very, very similar. They might even be the exact style that are on the 250R. So this, I'm trying to not replicate the 250R, but this build is going to, it will complement the 250R. Then moving down here, we have our lug nuts. So these are also on the 250R, I believe. At least at one point in time I had these on there. I may have switched them out, but these are aluminum lug nuts. They work great. They're extra lightweight. And they just look trick with the red billet. Those come from GPS. I really do. I like those a lot. Up here we've got our red radiator hoses. Nothing too special there. eBay special. WRC Rad Studio. But pretty inexpensive. Isn't it nice that they have their email right there on the hoses? Work at howhowgoji.cn. Just in case you're out on the trails and you want to contact the company, you got it right there. And then here is a Hauser Racing airbox lift kit. So we're going long travel on the front and rear shocks. And when you do that, the shock goes up and down. It has a little bit extra travel, and you have to raise the airbox. So Hauser actually makes a kit just for that. And then right here is our TM Designs case saver. I got it in red. That should match once everything's in there. Sometimes I get a little bit worried about going with like colored stuff. Then I've got our chain slider, chain guard, all that stuff is TM Designs. All this stuff came from ATV Galaxy. Then coming down here, we've got our Urmosi thumb throttle. We're going to open this up. I left everything in the packages because I kind of like opening stuff up with you guys. This is the 720 SBC bar clamp. If you guys follow the channel, you know exactly what this is. These things are great. I put them on pretty much every one of my machines, but we'll open up that also. And then this, oh man, I really like these things. So these are heel guards from DBR. These have very, very aggressive pegs. Really, really nice kick-ups on the side, so you're not going to slide off. And the overall construction is just really nice. They're made of steel, not aluminum, and they've got these nice, thick nets. These are at least like 1.5 times the thickness of traditional Nerf nets. I really, really like that. And I already had they're powder coated. So they sent them to me raw, and I had them powder coated. I don't know if you guys can see the little metal sparkle in that color. It looks so good. And they sent me stickers so that after I got them powder coated, I could put the little DBR on there and represent, man. They really look good, especially with the yellow zinc hardware and stuff. Oh man, they really came out clean. I can't wait to see them on the machine. Then moving down, we've got some matching Streamline brake lines. You can see in that almost kind of like blood red color. It should match everything really nice. And then we've got a Duncan, the classic chrome front bumper. You can't go wrong with this. It's the same style bumper that's on the 250R. It should look really, really good. Both of these came from ATV Galaxy. This is a tough part to get sometimes, and it came really quickly from ATV Galaxy, so super thankful for that. And moving on down the line, we've got our skid plate, another TM Designs part. I've never run their skid plate before. Usually, I run like DRW and stuff. I really like to run different products. Even when I find one that I really, really like, I'll still switch to a different brand because part of what I do here is review products, and I like to see which one's better, or sometimes it's not always which one's better, it's which one's better for your situation or which one you prefer. So I really wanted to try this one out. I like that it's body colored in that red color, so that should look really good. It's a little bit thinner than DRW. And to be honest with you, I don't know that I need the like super hardcore one. I'm not like going over crazy rocks and stuff. I'm not doing XC racing. I think for a normal person, that's fine. And then here is an ATV axle. This is a Durablue. I've never had, or I shouldn't say that. On used stuff, I've had Durablue. I've never purchased a brand new premium axle. I've got like a lot of the Tusk ones and stuff. Nothing wrong with Tusk, but Durablue is like an industry standard, super hardcore axle that's known for, this is supposed to be twice the strength of stock, and it's stock width. We're going for XC style, so we're not going to be extending this axle. It's just exciting for me. It's kind of like a benchmark thing. And this is probably the axle nut is in here. And then here is our swing arm. This is the factory swing arm, the one that came off of there. It is the 05. People had told me to upgrade to the 06 Plus, or I shouldn't say, this is the 04, because this whole quad is a 2004, but 04, 05, the swing arms are a little bit shorter, and I think there's like some pivot changes in the rear shock, and apparently the 06 Plus handles a little bit better. I think there's a little bit more travel, and the swing arm's just longer, so you have a little bit more stability. But I was talking with Rocket Ron, that's my suspension guy, and he told me for tight woods racing that the 04, 05, some guys actually like them better. So I kept that. We kept the 04, and I had it Cerakoted by Bonehead Performance in the bronze color. So kind of going with the retro theme there. I think it's going to look good. Then we've got a billet twin row bearing carrier we're going to be throwing in there. And up here are the A-arms. So believe it or not, you guys guess what brand these are. These are really nice and heavy. The welds look really good. Believe it or not, guys, these are Alba Racing. They're really, really good quality. Kind of hard to believe that for such a cheap price point, I mean, comparatively speaking, these are $450. You look at some of these other brands, it's like $1,500 for like Hauser or Lone Star. Kind of crazy, as long as the fitment's good. And what's nice is these are long travel. Now moving on down the line here, in this bag here, well, wrap, I guess, is our exhaust. So we're going to open that up on the bench. Really excited to actually look at that. We've got our Torq1 Grips. These are the clamp-ons. Those have become my favorite ones. And then we've got our Renthal bars here. I went with a relatively low rise. And then right next to it, I'm sure you guys recognize these boxes. We've got the Recluse clutch, man. Apparently this is their brand new radius system. It has the complete feel of a clutch, but also it won't let you stall in the rough stuff. So it should be the best of both worlds. And up here, we've got our Rick's Motorsports stator. Or not stator, we've got our Rick's CDI. Now with the headwork and everything that's getting done by OCP, I asked Jeff from OCP, what I should do about the CDI. Should I get a Vortex, or, what should I do with that? Because, you do all these performance mods and stuff, and if it's not tuned correctly, you're not going to get the benefit of, what you're working with. And he said even with the stock CDI, we're going to see tremendous performance. And I just didn't think that it was worth spending the $600-700 on a Vortex, where this Rix one, I think it was $200. It came from Partzilla, and it's supposed to raise the rev limit, I think 1,000 or 500 RPMs. I'll put it on the screen. But it does it just enough so that you're going to see a return in performance, but it's not going to put the engine at risk. Well, I mean, of course it is. Like, whenever you do performance stuff, like, you're always adding more risk to damaging the engine. But it's not so aggressive that we're going to be, you know, like, shitting a brick thinking the thing's going to blow up. Quick side story about that. If you guys remember the Legend KTM that we did, I had that CDI tuned basically to the maximum that you could do safely. You know, I was doing these hill shoots in the sand, doing rev bombs in like second gear, dumping the clutch and shooting up the hill. Super, super fun. And that's, you know, it's a modern dirt bike. They're meant to be revved and everything. And I did that, you know, over and over and over and over and over again, probably for like 20 minutes or so. And, you know, pushing the engine pretty hard. And I heard a big boom, and the engine stopped running, and I was like, uh-oh. The timing jumped on the camshaft, and the piston hit the valves. Not good. So that's what the big bang sound was. It was the piston colliding with the valves. What had happened, you know, I looked on forums and whatnot, or at least what I think had happened, is the KTM has a hydraulic cam chain tensioner. And at super high RPMs, they can get overloaded, and then they lose pressure, and they don't hold the cam chain slider. So I think in adding the extra performance of that CDI, that actually overloaded the factory system. So I had to put in a manual chain tensioner, and that hopefully it should never happen again. A lot of these engines, when they come from the factory, they are built with a certain amount of RPM rev limiting in them to prevent stuff like this from happening. So when you go and you modify these engines and whatnot, yes, like, everything is working properly, you did everything right, but they're not engineered to exceed certain RPMs. So I just wanted to say that that's like an engineering thing, and anytime that you modify stuff, you're risking breaking it easier, I guess. And, like, let's be real, I'm not going to go out and not rev it to the moon. It's like, yeah, well, it can just work. Just don't, like, rev it like that. Well, what's the point of even, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so we have a seal kit here from Tusk, nothing too crazy. A Pro Design air filter that came from Partzilla. Oh, and over here, this is just a pile of bearings, seals, brakes, and rebuild kits. All that stuff came from Partzilla.com. Over here, we've got I think that's the rear disc brake. That was an eBay job. And then these are really good name, apparently, Braking. The brand is literally called Braking. But these came from Partzilla. They're the front discs. I've got a spec bolt kit up here. This does it even say? I think there's like 250 bolts in here. But it's actually made for the 400EX, 450R, and 700XX. And it's got generalized bolts and stuff, because this is a basket case. And I can almost guarantee there's going to be a bunch of bolts missing. Yes, we've got Partzilla, and we could order all this stuff OEM. But as I'm putting stuff together, I don't feel like making an order and waiting a couple days each and every time I find one stinking bolt missing. So that spec bolt kit is going to be really nice. And then this is a reproduction taillight. I could have got OEM, but this brand, Mati, actually makes pretty good stuff. It's like a cheaper eBay brand. I've gotten kill switches from them and like little odds and ends, and their reproduction stuff usually works pretty good. It's a taillight, so it's like, oh, if it fails, is it really that big of a deal? But it was so inexpensive and like a quarter of the price of OEM. I figure we'll rock that. In this bag here, another inexpensive Chinese part. It's a nice CNC upper steering stem clamp. It was just a nice, clean-looking piece. And then coming over here, we've got our Renthal chain. Nothing like too exciting there. It came from Partzilla.com. We've got our rear sprocket, Renthal aluminum. I bumped it up. Or no, the rear sprocket we're keeping stock. The front sprocket, I went up one tooth. And this is a Hauser drop grab bar. You can see how it angles down like that. These drop grab bars help out so much and moving the quad around. And I had this coated in mini texture black by Bonehead Performance. Can we get this to focus on here? If you guys see that little texture, it's not super grippy. It's smooth enough that, like, if you wipe it with a microfiber, it doesn't get lint all over it, but it's grippier than stock. So that is Hauser Racing, and this came from ATV Galaxy. And right here, we've got our rear skid plate. Going with the traditional style, it's a Motorsport. Just a nice, solid rear skid plate for bashing over the rocks and stuff, man. You can't beat those things. And then we've got our shocks, dude. We're probably gonna put these up on the bench. We've got our GT by Hess rear linkage, long travel rear shock done by Rocket Ron. He takes the stock stuff and makes it long travel. And we've got our long travel front shocks. These are the OEM shocks that came off this quad. He converts them to long travel, triple rates them, and they're built approximately for my weight. I'm sure I'll have to tweak them a little bit. And we've got the red springs up top, black on the bottom. They look wicked, man. These are gonna be awesome. Then this box here, nothing too thrilling. It's just a ton of aftermarket part, or OEM stuff. Everything in this box is OEM. We've got an OEM gasket kit right from Honda, some bearings and stuff, but you get the idea. Nothing too crazy in there. Here's our tires, going with the Maxxis Razors, front and rear. So we've got the tires here, but what I'm really excited for is the wheels. We've got OMF making these wheels that look so freaking good. I'm gonna show you guys some examples on the screen. I don't know exactly what they're gonna look like. So I'm working with Bones over at OMF, and he said he wants to put his spin on them. And I told him the color scheme and everything. I gave him the color codes for our powder coat and whatnot, so it should match. But I'm a little nervous, man. We're going to see what Bones comes up with. I can't wait till they get here, though. If you guys know OMF wheels, they're like the best of the best. They're super premium. The price tag goes with it too, man, but you get what you pay for. And they just look amazing, dude. They're the coolest. I think they're the coolest wheels you can get for sport quads at this time. But unfortunately, they're not here right now. So we're going to stop talking about them. And last but not least, we've got some OEM fenders right from Partzilla.com. You can see those Honda OEM part numbers. I've got the ones that came off there. Those plastics are really, really nice. If we spent a couple hours buffing and polishing them, we could probably make them look almost like new. But the price difference, these stock fenders, especially in red, the red ones aren't that expensive. They were probably mass produced. It was only a few $100s. Like I think the back fenders literally were like $250, and we had to buy the front fenders anyways because they weren't in the basket case. So I think this back fender was like $250, and then I can resell that other one up there probably I can probably get like $150, $200 for that. So for like a difference of like $50 to $100, I didn't think it made sense to spend like probably like a whole afternoon buffing and polishing the other ones, and they're never gonna be quite as nice as brand spanking new. So that's why I went new. Oh, I almost forgot, guys. This here is a service manual. It's an OEM Honda one, 2004 to 2005. And what's really cool about this one, I bought this as a regular customer on eBay. It's a used one. I don't know if it was in a service shop or something. And after I ordered it, I got a message from the guy, and he was a subscriber, and he gave me a discount after the fact. So I just wanted to say thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. Every little bit counts. A lot of people think that all these parts are just comped and everybody sends me everything. But dude, I front the bill for most of this stuff. And it's not cheap, man. So any little bit helps. I really appreciate that, man. And I appreciate you guys for watching this video. If you're enjoying this, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section below what you think of these parts. Now, before we take a closer look at those parts, I want to show you guys the graphics that I designed for this thing. So here it is. The theme is the Dark Patriot. Now, for you guys that have been around for a while, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you guys don't know, I made a 250R years ago and called it the Patriot M309R, and it's a military tribute quad. Thing turned out absolutely badass and was a beautiful build. Man, am I cool or what? But anyways, it had a really cool color scheme to it, and people just really liked it. I have a huge appreciation for the military, and I was coming up with this design for this quad, and I wanted it to have like a sinister look and all. And then I was like, man, Chad, the guy that I bought it from, he was like, could you keep it kind of reminiscent of the original 250R graphics? What I wanted to do was complement the Patriot with the Dark Patriot. So I can have the two Honda quads next to each other, and they'll complement one another. You can see the style of the rear fenders right here, and then the style on the new one. So I modernized it, of course, to fit the flow of the 450R fenders and whatnot. And I changed the desert camo. You can see it looks like boxes. It won't have that grid pattern. I've since fixed that. But anyways, it still looks very much the same. But I made the desert camo in the dark color scheme, changed up the flag to have the red background and the black instead of the white. Just
kind of give it that like more sinister look. On the side, you can see it's got dark Patriot M480R, and we've got the flags on there and everything. And this time around, you know, the first time I did this, people were like, oh, you've got the flag in the wrong direction. I didn't even know that. A lot of military guys jumped out and they were like, oh, what are you doing? You got to always have the flag flowing in the right direction. With forward is always the stars, and then the stripes face backward, which makes sense. That's the way that a flag would flow if it was actually on the machine. So I made sure to do all of that stuff correctly. Here is a closer look at the back. We've got all the sponsors right on the side there. And then, of course, we've got the military tribute logo that I designed up here. However, I actually changed it. So this is the original tribute logo that's on the 250R Patriot. And I have since added Space Force, because Space Force was not around when I did the Patriot 250R, and now there's Space Force. So I added a sixth spike on the star, put Space Force in there, and changed the colors to a little bit of a darker theme, and it should look really, really cool. Here is my rendering of the 450R with the graphics on there. I think it's going to look a lot cooler in real life, and of course, we'll have the OMF wheels on the front and back, so that's going to look a little bit different. We'll have the Duncan Bumper on the front. The shocks are going to be a little different, so it'll look similar to this, but I think it's going to look a lot cooler. And I've also decided we're going to use a Quad Tech hood. We're not going to run the headlight, because the 250R had this was a different hood on the front, the carbon fiber one, but I want it to look similar to that. I just think they'll match a lot better if we do that. So that's the idea for the design. You can see kind of what they'll look like next to each other. Very similar in the graphics and like little stuff that will complement both of the machines. And I just think that's going to be really cool. So once I design the graphics, I'll send them off to Graphics Producer and they'll print them there. If there's any mistakes or anything in my graphics, they'll fix it. Those guys are absolutely excellent graphic artists, and they can take care of just about anything you need when it comes to graphics. If you're not savvy with these programs, making your own graphics, they can make a design for you, and they've also got a number of existing graphics that are really, really cool, so you guys can check them out. It's Graphics Producer. Hopefully they get here pretty soon, because I can't wait to see the graphics. Powersports Nation and Partzilla are both sponsors of the channel, and it's where I get most of my parts from. Partzilla.com is my go-to source for OEM parts. They've got online schematics that make finding the part you need easy. They've also got you covered when it comes to gear like helmets and boots, any kind of oils and lubricants that your machine might need. Partzilla has quick shipping, and all orders over $150 ship for free. Now, if I'm looking for parts for a side-by-side like this Can-Am, or for a utility ATV like a Sportsman, my go-to spot is going to be powersportsnation.com. If you don't see what you're looking for on the powersportsnation.com website, make sure to call in and let them know, because they're constantly getting new parts in every week, and they just might have what you need. All parts come with a warranty, and every order ships for free. I've been using Partzilla.com and Powersports Nation for years, and I'm comfortable recommending them to you guys. If you're looking for a way to support me, the best way to do that is by using the companies that support what I do. Links to powersportsnation.com and partzilla.com will be in the description below, as well as any other companies that are helping out with this 450R project. All right, let's get back to the video. All right, baby, you already know what time it is. We got to open up this exhaust. Looks like we got a three-piece system here. We've got probably a header, mid-pipe, and the can. The only thing we really care about is the can, because the can is what looks cool. Everybody likes a nice can, right? Oh, yeah. Nice. Wow. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. This will go. I don't want to finger it up, man. I don't want to get fingerprints on it. This will go with the color scheme very well. DASA. Is it DASA or is it DASA? I just don't know. But I'll tell you what, this feels rock solid, man. Some exhaust systems, they're like super lightweight and tinny, which, I mean, it's a racing pipe that's supposed to be really lightweight. This has this like really hardcore, looks like a CNC billet exhaust tip. It's not like pressed aluminum or anything like that. It is heavy duty, man. Like, you could probably, get some good wheelie rash on that and it would still look all right. So the reason I bought this exhaust, because this 450R came with a Curtis Sparks exhaust, which is a great exhaust system also. In working with Jeff at OCP, he's the guy that is doing the head work. Jeff knows what's up when it comes to 450Rs, and I asked him about the exhaust system. So with the head work that we're doing, I said, is this Sparks X6 pipe gonna do the trick? And he said, absolutely it will. It's not like it's gonna kill the performance or anything. But he said on the dyno, his favorite pipes were the DASA and I believe the other one was Monster. So I chose to go with the Dasa because I've never had a Dasa exhaust before, not even on a used machine. I've never like bought one that had one on it. I don't think so anyways. I think it's a really clean look, really love the exhaust tip, and I love that they offered it in this candy red. So it's gonna match the color scheme really nicely, and the Dasa is supposed to be a little bit quieter than the Monster exhaust. Monster's cool, man, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of over like the super loud exhaust. My friend Tyrese has, I think it's a Monster on his. He either has Monster or Empire, but I would put them both in the same class of loudness. And it just is annoying, man. Like, it's cool the first time you hear it, but if you're riding behind him, like literally, you get like these stinging feelings in your ear. It's just so loud. So I'm kind of over that. Hopefully this Dasa isn't insanely loud, but we should get really good performance. And the difference specifically that I should see with this Dasa and our performance versus the Curtis Sparks is the over rev. This is supposed to have, the power hangs on a little bit longer and you have better over rev. So really looking forward to running this pipe. Awesome looking exhaust system, man. Next, we've got this durable axle. Durable. It's Durablue, you idiot. Anyways, let's crack this thing open. Like I said, I've never actually had a new Durablue axle. I think the OG Banshee had one, but it came with it. Never have I purchased one new. They're really expensive, dude. They're like, I think this is like 600 bucks, dude. That is not cheap. You know, you can get something like a Tusk or Niche makes one. And I mean, I've never had a Niche one, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like the same as the Tusk. And they work pretty good, man. I mean, sometimes I ride pretty hard, and I've taken some really big hits. I don't know that I've ever really bent an axle, even jumping stuff. So I think maybe if you're riding like hardcore motocross or something, but this is supposed to be like the best freaking axle out there. Here is our Anti-Fade. This is just a lock nut system that prevents the axle from loosening up, because that can happen. Comes with some directions. And some stickers. Nice. All right, let's get this axle open. This is such an important part. It's stabled. They've got it stabled together. Let's get rid of these before I stable myself. I hope it comes with the hub for the sprocket. I'm pretty sure it does. Oh, thank God it does. I was gonna say, man, for 600 bucks, it better freaking have it. It didn't come with axle nuts. The value that Tusk has, my gosh. Wow, man. Nice finish on it. Real nice billet sprocket hub. Not too much to see here. I guess it is extendable. It's either -1 to stock or stock to +1. I think it is to -1. Well, these are like a ½ an inch, so it's like +0.5 maybe. I would have to measure it against the stock one, but that's what I want, man. I want this quad to be nice and tight. All right, let's crack open our Urmosi parts. They're kind of like a creature feature in that they are just comfortable. The thumb throttle, your little gas pedal here, is longer than stock. You can adjust this. You lift it up, move it on the fly. I know the owner, his name's Robert, and he goes above and beyond with the quality of his products. I forget exactly what these are coated with, but it's like a military finish. It's not a normal anodizing, and he just likes his stuff to be ultra premium. He's got needle bearings in here, so it's not like a Teflon bushing like you would get in a factory setup. It's just a very, very smooth, buttery feel. And then over here, this is the SBC 720 bar clamp. These are bar clamps, and they're risers also. They boost the bars up probably, I would say, about an inch. And essentially, this is a shock absorbing system where, let's see if I can pull this apart here. All of the shock, not all of the shock, I mean, you're still gonna get some shock, but a lot of the shock is absorbed by these bushings, and it really, really helps with shoulder fatigue, forearm fatigue, and just overall fatigue when you ride. You know, the people that have been following for a while, I've never really been much of a rider. I'm like the builder guy, and in the last year, I started riding a lot more, and I've really started to appreciate things like this a lot more than I used to, because I'm actually experiencing how good they are. And this is one that I can definitely attest to. They come with different bushings too. So you can get the yellow, which is the softest, and then he has a blue one that is more firm. So these are absolutely excellent. You can pick them up on Urmosi.com. This next one will be quick. I just want to open this up with you guys because I know as a kid, I always wanted one of these, and I really couldn't afford one. These are not cheap. This is like a $300 bumper. It's not like a $300 bumper. It is a $300 bumper. They're really, really beautiful bumpers, man. There's really nothing special about this. Like, in terms of bumpers, is it really better than a Tusk bumper or, you know, anything that's cheaper than 300 bucks? Not really. I don't think so anyways. Maybe they're a little bit more durable, but I don't even think with that. They're just really good looking. I think Duncan, who includes stickers, by the way, is just a really premium brand. And, you know, if you were a fan of dirt wheels back in the day, you probably saw a lot of Duncan bumpers in the magazines, man. They look really good, super clean looking, very minimalist. You know, they have like the real thin piping because these are steel instead of an aluminum bumper. I just love these things, man. It's gonna look really good on there. And I wanted to talk about these A-arms with you guys. So these are Team Alba. Almost everybody's familiar with Alba, man. What is so incredible about Alba is that their price point on their stuff is just so affordable, and they still have a good reputation. A lot of times these, you know, more, I hate to call it an economy brand, but it really is. I mean, you can be an entry-level racer or a rider and not have that much cash flow and get yourself a nice, decent set of A-arms with these. What's most surprising, though, is they're not really, like, generic. And I mean that by the features on here are actually very nice. For one, these are XC A-arms, so you can get them in extended. The extended, don't quote me on this, but it's like a +2 or something, like a traditional. And they have the same flow, and then this is in flow by like the design. And then this is their XC setup, which is +0.5. So it's only a ½ of an inch wider on each side. And then there's little spacers that come in the hardware, and you can bump it out so that they're +1. Now, I'm going to leave it +1/2 because I've really come to like riding stock machines. I'm not really into like the super wide ATVs and stuff. I think it really messes with like the geometry and the handling of it. And I do mostly trail and woods riding. If I was doing motocross and stuff, you know, I might have a different opinion. But I've really come to enjoy like the nimble, tight machines and more lightweight. So these are going to be really perfect. You know, the whole goal of this build is for just a total woods crusher, man, so that you can be like real aggressive riding in the woods and stuff, and handle really well and have quick acceleration and stuff. But still, when you're out in the straights, you can blow a lot of people away. These A-arms I thought fit the build perfectly. They're heavy. You know, I've gotten some Chinese A-arms before, and they're not heavy, man. They're using like really thin gauges of steel and stuff. The bends look nice. The welds look nice. These come with an adapter that actually fits in the shock, in where the shock goes. I think I grabbed the wrong size, or the wrong side. But what this enables you to do is you can run the factory length shocks, or you can run long travel. So let's say you don't have the money to upgrade your suspension and your A-arms at the same time because shocks are super expensive. Well, you can buy these A-arms, run your stock shocks, and then when you have the budget for long travel, you take out the adapter and you can run long travel shocks on these. So really, really nice setup. And they do have the high ground clearance contour, which, like I was saying before, they don't have like a basic, they have like really good features to them. So I just wanted to highlight these, dude. No sponsorship or anything. I actually bought these through ATV Galaxy on eBay. I didn't even get them directly from Alba, but I just think it's worth mentioning because I know a lot of people think about buying stuff like this. And even at 450 bucks, that's a pretty big price to pay. And you know, you don't want to be getting junk. And just so you guys know, I did get these powder coated. If you order them from Alba, they're going to come in a traditional gloss black. And then to go with those A-arms, we've got our rebuilt shocks right from Rocket Ron Racing. I got the lower springs in gloss black, the upper ones in Honda red. I think it's going to go with the color scheme really, really nicely. You can see, I wish I had a stock shock here to compare it and show you guys, but these are a good bit longer than the factory shocks, and they're going to work perfectly with those Alba A-arms. They look beautiful. It's going to go with the color scheme. Now, I was originally going to go with Fox floats for this build. One, because I like the look of them, and two, because they're super lightweight. A number of the components, when Ron switches them out, he goes from steel to aluminum. So these shocks are longer than stock, but they're actually lighter. And that was enough for me to hold off on the floats and stick with traditional style springs. If you guys have any suspension needs, check my guy out, Rocket Ron Racing. He's been in the game for a long time, man, and he knows his shit. And then, of course, we've got the Hess rear linkage. This is going to give us a little bit more travel in the rear end, and it should make the ride a lot more plush. Should be pretty freaking awesome. All right, man, now we're going to bring it in close. We got some Recluse clutch parts. This is what we're running. It's the Radius CX, and apparently this is kind of like a best of both worlds type situation because, oh, look at that, man. It's got an inspection certification. I like opening this stuff up with you guys, though, because, again, like the Duncan Bumper, like, this stuff is not cheap. And some people, you know, they don't get to experience this stuff. So if I can bring some of that joy to you guys, you know, like, I wasn't always able to get all this stuff. So I just think this is really cool to open this stuff up. Anyways, so yeah, this is all from Recluse. I wasn't originally planning to run a Recluse style clutch because I got to ride a machine with Recluse before. I didn't really like it. The performance was great, but like I like using the clutch. I think it's fun to pop wheelies, and the style of Recluse that I used, the clutch didn't really do anything. It was basically like a semi-automatic, and that to me kind of took the fun out of it. Like, yeah, for cross-country racing and stuff and not stalling, probably like the functionality is great, but I like to ride quads more for enjoyment and fun. So it's like a manual sports car. Nowadays, the automatics are faster, but I would still get the automatic, or the manual. Got the clutch cover right here. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know if I mean, this is really nice. Got some foam on the back there. But you guys have to see the other cover. Since I was getting all of the parts Cerakoted anyways, I was like, well, I might as well do the factory one too. And this came out so nice. This is Cerakoting, done by Bonehead Performance. I mean, does that not look amazing? So, I mean, yeah, the Recluse one is really cool too. But I really, it's going to be tough, man. I think I might have to use this because, you know, I got to rep the company. So, oh, man, does that look good? Well, we'll have to see. This one's still really cool, though. And then we've got the actual clutch system in here. I'll probably do a little bit more of an in-depth review of this. Once I actually read the manual and stuff and understand exactly how this works, and when we build the engine. But they have an interesting system in here. I've looked at one. The KTM came with a similar, I don't know if it was this exact one, but I was looking at how these things work, and it's actually pretty ingenious. But, you know, essentially, you've still got half of a clutch pack in here. Well, actually, it's like a full clutch. Oh, shit. And then this is the magic right here, from what I understand, which makes it so that you won't stall. So apparently this is the system that the guys are using in Supercross right now, a lot of the guys. So it's got to be good. Here are the springs. I mean, oh, damn, look at those. That looks sick. Got them anodized in like it's like a frost blue and like an orange red. Dude. And we even got the Live Strong band. Hell yeah. I'm going to wear that to the gym and people are going to be like, that's sick, bro. Recluse. Really awesome, though, that Recluse sent this because if you saw when we were tearing this engine down, the clutch is completely roasted. This bottom end was just screwed because somebody ran it without oil. Swap these out. We got another box from Recluse. Ba-boom! Got another. It's Emra. Am I reading that right? Well, it's inspected, and that's very nice. We got a basket. So we've got the whole system. Wow, it even included Loctite and a drill bit because you have to drill the rivets out from the stock. You got to take the gear off and put it on the back of this basket. So we will have a full clutch setup by Recluse. Well, guys, you've seen the parts. You've seen the plan for the build. I think we're doing really good here, man. We're on track for a freaking awesome machine. I just picked up the frame from Bonehead Performance. Chuck called me. He's like, dude, it just came out of the oven. It's piping hot, but you can come pick it up now if you want. And I was like, dude, I'm going to come get it right now. I just wanted to see this thing because, you know, seeing the heel guards, I knew what the color was going to look like, but the frame is always a little bit more impressive. So you can see the contrast of the red and the gunmetal gray. Subframe, big shout out to the Brewers. They gave me this, they had this subframe that is not bent, and this one will be good to go. But the contrast and the colors looks really, really good. When we get that bronze swing arm on there and stuff, I think this is going to be a really good looking machine, man. I'm getting super, super excited for it. So we have a couple more parts that we're waiting on. The cylinder is backed up. I don't know if that is, if you guys heard the Millennium, something happened at Millennium, like a giant fire, and all of their orders got pushed back and whatnot. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but we need that big bore cylinder to come in, and I'm also waiting on the cylinder head to come back from porting. We've got the crank is still on order, and there's a couple other odds and ends. The steering stem from LSR, I don't even know when that's going to get here. They said 3 to 4 weeks when I ordered it, and it's been 3 to 4 weeks, I'm pretty sure. So it's just going to get here when it gets here, and that's just the way it works, man. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps out a ton. And if you're really looking for a way to help out, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below. Even if you're just saying hi, the more comments that the video gets, the better that it tells YouTube that the video is and that people are enjoying it, and it'll get the video out to more people. So I would tremendously appreciate if you guys do that. Enjoy the July 4th weekend. Make sure you don't do anything too stupid, but also, you know, have a good time and live your life. That's what I'm going to be doing. I love all you guys. I'll see you in the next video. We'll take a closer look at this frame, and yeah, man, we'll do some pre-work probably. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.